Thanks so much for being here with us today, Drew. You talk a lot about adversity in your book, Coming Back Stronger, and not only how you dealt with it, but how it made you stronger. Now, you suffered a terrible injury to your shoulder, your throwing arm, in 2005. And you talk in your book about the recovery period, the tough rehabilitation you had to go through. Now, I know myself, if I'm going through a difficult time, or something's taking a lot longer than I want it to, I really have to struggle with trying to stay positive. I can very easily get depressed. How did you handle that period, and what gave you hope?
Well, I think I've always taken the approach of a very positive mindset, and that no matter what happens to me in my life, perceived negative adversity, I find a way to turn that into a positive. And I'm always a half glass full kind of guy, just feeling like, God's putting this in my life for a reason. It's here to make me stronger. It's here to mold me. Maybe I don't see it right now, but I just have to believe and trust and have faith. And so that's always the approach that I've taken. And I've had my fair share of injuries through football, and you can relate that or draw the parallel to maybe what somebody has gone through with this economy, or the loss of a job, or the oil spill in the Gulf, affecting their way of life. Whatever type of adversity that you face in your life, create that mindset of I'm going to come back stronger. This is in my life for a reason. It's here to mold me and strengthen me, and I'm going to come out brighter at the end.
In the book, Coming Back Stronger, you address something that is one of the kind of dirty little secrets in America, in that we all seem to know somebody who has gone through the depression that led them to take their own life. In your case, your own mom's suicide. Drew, I want to ask you something. I remember when I was a young priest, someone coming to me saying, "Father, our son committed suicide," and the priest at the funeral said that the great sadness is he would never get to heaven because he had taken his own life, and that burdened these parents terribly. In fact, the teaching of the church is different. It says that if a person is depressed, that God fills in with his mercy and goodness for whatever caused them to be that depressed that they would take their life, that it's an illness to be that depressed, and God fills in for our illness, so that even people who commit suicide can see the face of God. But when you lost your mom that way, being a believer, did you worry about, is my mom in heaven, and what's God's view of her now?
I did, absolutely. It was the first thing that crossed my mind, because I knew, and I certainly recognize now how much pain my mom was in, and all I ever wanted for her was just to be at peace, and I never thought that it would come to this. And yet, to know that she's gone, you just want to know that she's in a better place. And through my consultation with a lot of religious mentors in my life, it was pointed out to me through Scripture and through teaching that I do believe that she had God's grace and mercy in her heart when she did pass, and that she is in heaven, and that she's looking down on me every day, and my wife and my son, and I take comfort and peace in knowing that.
Your shoulder injury wasn't your first serious injury. You talk about in the book when you tore your ACL in your junior year of high school, and recovering from the surgery. I don't know, I guess you were 16, 17 years old?
17.
You said it gave you the opportunity to think about what your purpose is in life, why you're here. How does a 16 or 17-year-old start thinking about something as profound as, why am I here on earth? Well,
I think you have to maybe have something like that happen to you. At the time, that torn ACL for me was traumatic, because I'd seen a lot of other athletes have that, and they didn't come back the same. They weren't as fast, or they weren't as strong, and it kind of debilitated them, and both physically, I think, and mentally a little bit. And so that scared me when it first happened to me, because I thought, am I going to be in the same boat as them? And yet I made the commitment at that time, no, I'm going to come back stronger. I'm going to find a way, whatever it takes. And so I think that traumatic event at that time in your life, which, I mean, everything revolves around high school football in Texas, and I mean, that's all you know, and that's all you want to know. And yet all of a sudden it became one of these light bulb, going off in your head moments where you just say, why am I here? What is my purpose? And I feel like I grew in my faith at that time, and also really I think made the commitment that, you know, I'm not sure what God has in store for me, but I'm just going to get up every day and be thankful for it, and never take it for granted, and work as hard as I can and let God show me the way.
Drew Brees says on a show like this, I do this because I feel blessed. So you're segueing perfectly for us into the question of faith and spirituality. I'll call this the Derek Jeter question, because I had said, Derek, why of all the people in the world who could be given the blessings and the strengths and the abilities, why you? And he said, I'll try not to ask because I don't want God to rethink it, but why Drew Brees? Why are you selected by God to have the gifts, the talents, the abilities you do? Why do you think he gave them to you?
Well, I don't know, but I know this, I'm certainly never going to take it for granted. And I think any person who's in my position, who's been blessed to be given a platform as a professional athlete, you know, you have a voice, you have an opportunity to really impact people in a positive way. And I feel like God has put me in this position for a reason, to be able to do exactly that, to be able to talk about my faith, which, you know, I feel like everybody's relationship with God is very private and personal, and you deserve that, right? And so, you know, I'm not very flamboyant about it or anything like that, but yet, you know, I do have my strong beliefs and my faith, and I feel like that's gotten me through so much. It's gotten me to this point, without a doubt. And so I love to profess that faith and to talk about it, because I hope that will also influence others. But certainly, the reason that I wrote this book, I mean, I really came out of my comfort zone in a lot of ways by writing this book. It's not something that I was totally comfortable with, you know, even throughout the process, but yet my driving force throughout the whole thing was that this book can motivate and inspire and help equip people with the knowledge and the lessons that they need to come back stronger from any bit of adversity that they face in their life. To see adversity as an opportunity, and to know that it is molding you, it is strengthening you into the person that you're meant to be.
Thanks to you, Drew, for being on our show. Your book is wonderful. Coming Back Stronger is something everyone should read, because, as you said, it doesn't stay within the perimeters of just talking about football, but you do go in that whole area of self-examination. That's a tough thing to do, but in those moments when you reveal your heart, you're really helping all of us to grow. It's a wonderful book, and thank you for writing it.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.